Hello and welcome to episode 8 of my Satisfactory Let's Play. So we are ready to start building our next factory. I did let the game run for a bit. I had steel pipes going into that container and then beams into that one. Honestly, I don't even need that many pipes, and I need a lot of beams. So I shut it off and I converted everything over to make beams. So all of that is just making steel beams right now. I've got a big storage container and then a little one, and it's close to full. Back at base, I added a few more storage containers for concrete because it had stopped and we're going to need a lot of concrete. So I wanted it to keep going. And then over here, I completely deforested the area because we don't want trees popping up into the factory. I spent a bunch of time trying to figure out exactly what size it was going to be. And I've laid out corners, and there's a corner over there and there's a corner over there. And what we're going to build is going to fit just inside. So every time you see a foundation with this texture, that's something we're going to delete. So all these will be deleted eventually. The first floor is going to go right there. And so I've got a ramp up to it. We're going to have 4 walls, and then the second floor is going to be level with that. So I got another ramp. And then in order to build it, I've got some snap points, and I need that ramp to get up to the snap points. I've got all the blueprints. I am kind of cheating, I guess. Yeah, it's probably cheating. What I had discovered before was I had gone to another save and put down the blueprint machine and made blueprints for the coal power plant. And then when I came to this save, the moment I unlocked the blueprint designer, I had access to my blueprints. I didn't actually have to build one, which no big deal. I had the materials to build it. So I wanted to test and see if this would work, and it did. I went back to my creative save, and I put down the Blueprint Designer Mark III, which is bigger. I made blueprints, come to this save, and sure enough, I have access to these blueprints from the big one. So I'm going to use it. It is cheaty because I'm nowhere close to having the Blueprint Designer Mark III. But I'm going to use it. It's just a little less work for me. Okay, so I've got all of our blueprints. So I've got the first floor front row. That's going to be the first thing we put down. So it's going to be the first floor, and then the front row is going to go along. And I need to get down here. And the first one will take a minute to get it to snap. So I want you to go over here. Once we get the first one snapped, it'll be easier. And then... well, I think it actually snapped the right way. Yeah. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Yes. I could go up top and see, but... 2 there, and then 1 and 1. Yes. Okay, so... then I've got to run you down. I guess I could have done this and I would have been able to see too. Okay, so this is our front row, and this blueprint is going to repeat all the way down. And I left us a spot. Oh, also in the blueprint designer, you can put down decals and stuff that you don't actually have access to. So this will be the first floor, right? And I've left a spot here. I marked it as a road. It's not like we're going to have a lot of vehicles driving through here. I'll drive through here probably to get where I'm going, but I wanted to designate this as just open space. Don't use it. And then this will be the logistics floor, and I'm going to put down, it's going to all look like this. The second floor is going to be production. But in order to put more down, in order to make it easier to snap, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to come to this point. And then if I go back to my blueprint, make sure we're grabbing the front row. I want to spin it. Yep, just like that. So I should be centered, and I should have it going forward and off to the right. So then I know I've got it snapped right. Same thing. And I made these foundations use the other texture because it's easier to tear them down. Then you can set the filter to just this type. And we'll be able to tear all these down real quick. Oh, this one's going to be a little more challenging. I'll have to... I have to do this in the hard way. This should be centered. Onto that. Should be there. Nope, it's got to go one more. There. It should come out right to the corner. It did not. Should have been there then. Did I mess something up? No, it's definitely got to go there. Maybe I messed that one up. If I set my blueprint to this. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Set my blueprint to that. Now you're selecting everything. Filter on just that. Yeah. Now you're going to take those out. And it should leave. Yep. That's exactly what I wanted. All right. So I must have miscalculated here. It's still okay because I had room for one to spare. All right. So that's the first row. I'm going to run back down here, and then the second rows all snap to this point. Actually, I don't have to run down there. I could just do it here. Let me come back over here. Okay, so then we're on to the second row, first floor, other rows. It's going to snap to the center like that. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those because we already know apparently I messed that up. Oh, I'm out of concrete already. All right, let me go back and get concrete. All right, filled back up on concrete. That should come out right. I guess I mismeasured. I had that side one short and this side one long. It doesn't matter. Let's tear this down while we're here. Okay, I'm going to run back. And so what I've got to do now is I've got to do exactly what I did here for other rows. I got to go to there and run the blueprint and there and there and there. So I'm not even going to time lapse it. It's just literally me doing the exact same thing. And when we're done, yeah, I'll just come back when we're done. Okay, I just finished the last of the first floor. So you can kind of see what I did there. In the center of each blueprint, I've got it set up to come down, and then we'll continue the concrete pillar down. I tried to kind of thicken it up all around that and then make it look like there's kind of some thick parts of the concrete to act as a beam to help carry the floor. I think it'll look pretty good. So this is why, because these are all 1 meter foundations and so are these. But by making these the other texture, when I hit G, I can hold control and it'll grab those. But when I mess up and hit the ceiling, it's not going to grab those because I've got to tear all of this temporary stuff down now, which is good because I do want the concrete back. And once I get all this stuff tore down, then I'll come in here and run the little columns the rest of the way down. So let me do that. There are 2 nodes that are under. I needed to make it a little bigger, and the miner will just barely fit. Although I swear before the miner was on the other side of the pillar. Maybe I started the whole thing off by 1. That's why I was... Guess we'll find out. Anyways, let me tear all this temporary stuff down and then extend these pillars down. So there are some rocks you can blow up. I don't know that these are all going to blow up. Yeah, I didn't think so. Like this one, I think I would be able to blow up. Yeah, that one blew up, but these didn't. I was just seeing if I could get rid of them. Okay, I got that all done. I think this looks pretty good. I like how I thickened it up and I got the little beam things running between the columns. It definitely looks like it could support a pretty heavy building. I didn't really consider what the end of these were going to look like, because in there, it doesn't look like anything's cantilevered. It looks like it's all supported, but then this makes it look like it's cantilevered. So I don't know. I don't know if I should just do something there to kind of end it decorative, or if I should have something, but not a full column, a smaller thing, or I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to think about that. I hadn't really considered it, but anyways, first floor is done. So now we can run upstairs, and I've used almost all the concrete from the base. I've still got some in my inventory, and there's a sugar cube up here that's completely full of concrete. So, and the good news is the other floors don't use as much. Let me run up here, actually, it'll be easier. So the first floor is our logistics floor. As you'll be able to tell, there it is. Wow, I know, it looks like a lot to take in. That's gonna be our logistics floor. So we'll have conveyor belts, and let's say, for example, we've got iron ingots. Iron ingots would run down, and then at some point, they need to come off and go up. And so I've spaced them 2 by 2, so that wherever it is you need to go up, you could put a splitter or merger on this belt, and you could come out to the side and then put a lift up. So this belt or this belt will use this space, right? And then this will use this space, and yeah, so on and so forth. If you were doing it right here, like you just wouldn't do it right here. You would just come back a little bit and then go up. So that is 45 conveyors. So we can have 45 different items on our bus here. I guess I'm basically making a main bus. And we can stack these. So if I've got, I can only do 270 right now. If I need 500 of something, I would just do that. And I would just have 2 belts going down and so forth. So this will be our logistics floor. And then I left this space open. So what we need to do now is we need to put the next floor up. And it's, I already know it's going to be 4 walls up. So I need to run up the other ramp. This is when I like the parachute. Run up this ramp, and now we got to do the same thing, and in this first one's going to take a little bit. So this will be the second floor front, and what I want to see, kind of just want to send it down. Okay, and then it should be like that. Yes. Okay, and then we just need to bring it up until we're even with this floor, which is right there. Do I have enough of everything? This requires a lot more things. Not as much concrete, but a lot more other things. So this will be, I can still get up here, right? Yeah. So this will be our production floor. Again, I've got the little road thing here, and I can have machines, and we'll have floor holes. So if this is where we were taking the iron ingots and making plates, I could have the ingots come up and feed into the splitter. I've got a dotted line here. This is where the splitters would go. The machines would run down here. Then on the other end, we would have the mergers come back down and shoot back down onto the logistics floor. So that's how this floor is going to go. And if we go back downstairs, I've got more temporary stuff because this is how it's going to get put down. So we'll be pulling all these back out. But basically, we've got a post. And then what I went with was I tried to make it, I wanted to make it look like a giant steel I-beam. So I've got walls on their side, and then I've got walls upright, and then it's actually 2 walls thick. You can't really tell the thickness. You can tell out here. If you come out, you can tell it's thick, but you're not really gonna, oh, I missed it. No. Okay, you're not really gonna be able to tell it's 2 walls thick, but, so I got a giant steel beam, and it's got a post, and so that's able to carry a lot of weight, right? And then our little trusses come across and go into that, right? So this is carrying the load in between the beams to the beam, and the beam carries it to the post, and these posts are stacked on the posts downstairs, and then upstairs you already saw there's posts. So I need to do this, which will be the whole front row. I gotta be able to get up here. What do I want? Foundations? I got to be able to get up here. Oh, and we also have conveyors hanging from the ceiling. So that way, we already did, right? Like we already talked about, that'll be our conveyor going up, say bringing iron ingots up. Well, it'll come down, it'll hook onto this, and it'll run this way. And so if the ingots aren't here, if the ingots are way down there, they'll conveyor lift up, and then they'll ride along the ceiling, and then they'll shoot up. So, and that gives us a lot of space to stack conveyors before we get up to this height, basically. So that's the plan. And I'm definitely going to run out of stuff here because I just don't have enough room in my inventory. Looks like I'll be able to do it. Beams. Yeah, I'm going to have to go get more beams in a second. So I got to spin this. Yep. Yep, there's the conveyor floor holes. All right, so I got to go get more beams now. I'm not even going to time lapse this. I'm going to run the front row, and then we'll start doing the other rows, and I'll see how far I get before I completely run out of materials. Okay, I had to go get more materials, and I ran into him, and he kind of collapsed on top of me, and then he stood up, and now he's just... He just doesn't want to... Well, I wanted to drive this up the ramp, but I guess I'll leave it down here because I do not want him getting up in the factory. Weird. Not had that happen before. All right, the logistics floor is done. I took down all the temporary foundations and put the... there was one pillar missing off of each one. So that's all in. And that's pretty much the look I was going for. The ceiling's a little short in here, but it didn't need to be that tall because it's just conveyors on this floor. Otherwise, it probably would have looked to scale if it was a little taller, but, you know, I'm fine with that. But that's pretty much what I wanted, was all these trusses, and then they all carry to a big beam, and the beam carries to the posts. And, you know, I'm not going to say whether it's 100% realistic as far as how heavy all the stuff upstairs is. But when you talk about how strong, like, trusses are, those are 4 meters tall. I mean, that's a truss. That's a 12-foot tall truss, and it's pretty thick. So that could carry a tremendous amount of weight. This giant beam, again, a 12-foot tall steel beam, and, you know, I'm not going to say how thick it is. It's not quite a meter thick, but a 2-foot thick flange in the middle of the beam. Like, oh, no, wait, that wouldn't be the flange, right? That's the web. A 2-foot thick web, like... This is strong. This, you know, I don't know how heavy the machines are, but this is strong. So we've got down here is done, right? Looks pretty good other than the sides. I'm not putting walls up yet because I don't exactly know what I'm going to do with the walls. And then we've got the logistics floor is done. And again, it'll look a little better when we have walls. And that means this floor is done. Except now we need a roof. And the only reason we need a roof is I'm going to power these from the ceiling. So I need to do the wall thing again. Where's my wall at? Is it under this ramp? It is, isn't it? That was smart of you. That was smart. So I'm going to go up, I think, 6 walls. Because that should give me enough room for a... I don't even know if I can build this for an awesome sink. Yeah, the antenna I think is going to clip into the floor a little bit, but 6 is right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I need another ramp up there. Let me do that. And these ramps are definitely not permanent. These are all temporary. I don't know exactly how we're going to get in and out of the building. I haven't decided that yet. So now we're going to do the 3rd floor front row, which will be another logistics floor above if we need it. I'm going to go down. I'm just going to go all the way down just to make sure I'm lined up. Lined up there. Lined up there. Didn't quite make it. So this ceiling is identical to the ceiling downstairs, but there's more power. I ran power downstairs and I think I did 2 nodes and connected them just so that the floor downstairs could get lights. This one I ran at every beam. There's going to be a power connection. So wherever you need to, you would just hook up, right, to hook the machine up. So I'm not putting lights in the blueprint because to light both of these floors would require a lot of lights. We don't have anything going with the quartz. I'm sure I'll probably regret not putting the lights in the blueprint, but I can't make that many lights right now and I want to get the building going. So I'm going to build a ramp up here. We're going to do 3rd floor front row all the way down and then 3rd floor other rows. And I seriously doubt my resources will hold out that long. And right now the top floor is set up to be another production floor. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Right now, this is set up to be another logistics floor. And then it would have a production floor above it. I don't know that we're going to need that. We might just need this floor, and this is big enough for this factory. In which case, I would just come up here and end up having to tear all these things down. Yeah, I guess I'm going to put them up. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna do it like I planned, but I'm not for sure if we're gonna need this floor or not. All right, I am 6 of these short. Each one's like 500 concrete. So yeah, I need what, 2,300 more concrete to finish this. Now I do have all of these I can tear down, so I'll tear those down. I don't think that's really gonna give me enough though, honestly. But just again, this is when this is so powerful that I can hit G. And then I can just hold control and I can just go crazy on... I don't want to take the front... Well, I can take the front one down. I guess it doesn't matter. I can just go crazy on all this stuff and not have to worry about it grabbing anything else. And I do need to run these things too, I guess. Which takes more concrete again. And... All right, let me do this off camera. And I'm going to guess I still won't have enough concrete to finish this. But I knew I was going to run out of stuff. I mean, this is a huge building. All right, I'm about 1,500 concrete short. I want to turn up our concrete production just temporarily. I don't think it's going to let me do it because that thing's there. So one simple thing we can do is I can just take a Mark II. Yeah, it's because of this rock. Yeah, I think I'm hitting that. We can upgrade this to a Mark II, upgrade some belts, get some more up there. There's plenty of room on that floor to throw some more constructors down, and we'll just turn our concrete production up temporarily. Now I should be able to just upgrade you in place. Okay, and you're going to make 60 a minute, and this is a 60 belt. And we could even overclock it too. We should probably do that. Yeah. Where's my power shards? Okay, that'll get us 120. I do... That only gets us 150. I mean, I guess. I wanted to climb up on the belt. There we go. So if we're at one... Oh, see, now I gotta use steel beams. I guess we do have a lot. Okay. So let me run around. I'm going to upgrade the miners, upgrade all the belts. Nope. Okay, and then we'll go upstairs and add some more production for the limestone. All right, so the 3 belts coming up. I believe this one is the... Yeah, this one should be the full 270, because that was the one that came off the normal node. So that should be a full belt of 270. 270 divided by 45 is 6. So this should fill, just this one belt is going to fill 6 of them running at full speed. And if you remember before, we had 2 at full speed and 1 at partial. So I've already doubled our concrete production just off this belt. And that's 270 and that's 150 and 150. So the 2 of them together are just slightly more than that one. I don't actually have enough room for that many constructors down here. Yeah, we're going to need I'll overclock 1, that'll take 3, and then I'll have to do the same thing with 3 more. I guess I've got room over there. It's not going to look pretty, but it's temporary. All right, assuming I can run this conveyor, which I might not be able to. It might be too long. Oh yeah, it's definitely too long. Oh, it's going to automatically snap to the wall. Obviously, I did something wrong with my left. Oh, I put it on the wrong side, didn't I? Oh, okay. I don't know what you're clicking there. Thanks. And 15, 30, 60, 90, 120. That one's overclocked. Another 30 is 150. Plus these 2 overclocks, which is 18 and 18. Be 187, basically. So we're making 187 concrete a minute. Before we were making... I want to say 40. So yeah, we're making like 4 times as much concrete now. That should help out considerably. We're using a lot of power though. I've got Mark III miners overclocked as much as I can until we're at belt speed. And some of the belts aren't running just because it's trying to fill in there. It should be... Let me think here. It should be good, but I can upgrade it just so it back stuffs quicker. Yeah, well, that one's only on 150, so that's why it's all backed up. All right, anyways, so these run upstairs, and they go to 2 containers up there, and then I busted a hole in the wall, and then I ran it downstairs, and I put a container here. So this is where all the concrete ends up. Yeah, we're, I'd say we're making concrete pretty quick now. That's going really fast because a bunch of the machines had too much in it. The other thing is I need more tickets. So I broke into here, and this is a little spaghetti now. That's a merger. Where's it at? Oh, here's the smart splitter. So we had smart splitters, and what I did, this is where we make our iron rods, and it comes through and it goes into that container. So I put a smart splitter. God, I can't talk. Center output any. Left output overflow. That's a very useful setting. It's going to send everything straight until it backs up, and then everything will go in the overflow. The overflow goes and merges onto that belt, and it runs over here, runs down, and just goes into a quick and dirty sink. And I did the same thing with the plates over here. Same exact thing. It's going to send all of the plates into the storage container, but when it backs up, it'll sink them. So rods and plates, when they're full, we're going to send the rest of them to the sink. I didn't bother doing the screws because we're making 120. We're using 120. And then here on the copper floor, same thing. I've got, if I could jump up here. Oh, it's on the top floor, isn't it? No, it's right here. Okay, that's where they are. So overflow, so you can see we're overflowing. We're overflowing cable. We're not overflowing copper sheets. Oh, this is actually empty. And all of that's going into here. So now I've got 14 tickets. Yeah, I need a lot more tickets. So anything, and that's basically everything, because we're not going to fill up the concrete, and the production's upstairs, we're definitely not going to fill up. So everything that stopped is now running in. Yeah, don't listen. Don't pay attention to that. So nothing is stopped. Everything's running. Anything that backs up immediately goes into the sink. I think that thing's finally done uploading. Yeah. And from over here, you can get a decent look at the factory. So it's just slightly bigger than this one. Just a little slightly bigger. So I'm going to let the concrete run. I only need 1,500. I think I've already got 1,500 downstairs. But yeah, let me go grab the concrete and finish this building up. So we've got underneath the factories all done, right? Looks pretty good. Happy with this. I could blow a bunch of these rocks up if I needed to, but we're not going to be under here a lot. I may run conveyors under here if there's a node on that side and I want the conveyors to start down there. I might run them under, run them up, and then run them back. I'm not entirely sure, but So we got our underneath all done. We've got our logistics floor all done. And it's got room for 45. So this base can have 45 different items. And we don't need ores. We can just smelt the ores and not put them on the bus. We'll probably have to put the ingots on the bus because we're going to do multiple things with them. But, you know, 45 items, that's pretty good. Pretty decent sized bus. Okay, and then we've got our production floor. And the whole purpose of this is expandability. So the other base over there, I just built a square. I didn't measure it out at all. And I didn't really care because it didn't matter if it was expandable. It was just to get us going. This one I want to be expandable. We're going to bring a bunch of iron in. That looks like it has a face from this angle. There's his mouth and there's his two eyes. It's kind of weird. Anyways, that threw me off track. So we want this to be expandable. We're going to bring a bunch of iron in, and these don't have to be constructors. Let's say this is where we want to smelt the iron. So I might bring the iron ore up through the floor hole. Where is it? It's over here. So we might bring iron ore up and then feed it down a line, and this might be a row of smelters. And then they would dump into the middle and have a row of mergers, and we would have smelters there. So just smelting iron, going from here all the way down there, that's a lot of smelters. And then I've got a second row, that's a lot of smelters. And technically we have a high enough ceiling, I could put a small floor in just between like that post and this post, and we could have another layer on top. We're not going to have that much iron over here, right? But we've got a lot of room to just build what we have now, and then later, if we bring more nodes in, we get Mark III miners, we get better belts, I can expand. So I'm picturing probably the steel foundries to make steel is going to go down this line. I don't think it needs 2 rows. Then we'll probably do our iron, and we'll probably give the iron 2 rows. And then the copper probably could go here. Caterium could go there. I don't know that Caterium is going to need 2 rows. That would be all the ores. And then on this, starting here, then we would have constructors, right? And we would bring up a resource. Maybe we'd bring up limestone here and then make concrete. And I could, you know, again, do I need 2 rows? I'm not sure. And then something else and something else and something else, right? So we could get all of the basic stuff done. And the idea would be however many machines we need right from the start, there would be room to add a bunch more later. So if I upgrade the miners, upgrade the belts, if I bring a farther node in from farther away, I can just add more, and our logistics floor will let us do that. Because if, let's say, here's where the iron ingots are, we're going to put a splitter on, we're going to go up, and then we're going to run it, because we know we're either going to go here or there, right? We're going to go to one of these. So I guess you would put, if this is the iron ingots, then you would put a splitter here. You would have the lift go up, and then you would have a conveyor going across this way. And then the floor hole should be, oh, that's for the merger. Sorry. I didn't put the merger floor hole in because it actually goes dead center in between 2 blueprints. So this would be the floor hole for the ingots then. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like whatever it is, whatever belt it's on, you can put a splitter on wherever, bring it up, and then bring it across and feed it in. And then whatever the result is, so this is where the floor hole would be for the merger, it would come down. You could run it down to wherever the next available belt is, and then start running it that way. And the point would be, if we have another logistics floor, everything would go from one end to the other. When it gets to that end of the building, every single line would go up to the next logistics floor. The other logistics floor would run all the way down to this end, and then conveyor lifts would bring it down, and it would start over. So all of these belts would just go in a giant circle, and whatever you need on this floor, right above us, it has access to every single thing to either take it off or put it on. And then if we had another production floor up higher, it would have access to the logistics floor up there, right? So this is kind of my basic base design that I like to do, because I can come back later and I can change it. I can change it however I want to change it, and there's expandability. The only way it would be better is if we had started to where I wasn't right at the edge of the map, and I had a lot more space, and we could go out that way. I don't know how far out before it starts to kill us because it's the death zone, but we could go out that way. I just don't want to cantilever the building off over the cliff. That would be the only way this space would be better, is if we had room to expand that way farther, and we kind of can't do that. But this is also, you know, our still early-ish game, you know, base, so we're not going to get a ton of stuff. So anyway, I got one more thing to show, and I want to go over the coal power plant area, and then we're going to wrap up the episode. And when the base is up and running and we've got it going, I'll figure out what I'm going to do with the walls. It's going to have walls. I don't want it to look like a giant monolith like that does. I want, you know, walls. I'm probably going to want windows, but windows, that's going to take a bunch of crystal. And yeah, so I can't make probably the walls I want to make anyway right now, but we will add walls and make it look good. So I did a couple things down here before this episode, and it's kind of hard to show you. One of the things I did was I ran the pillars down. I'm not going to say everyone goes all the way down underwater. Can I not like dive down? There we go. I'm not going to say everyone goes to the ground because it's really hard to get underwater and make sure. I colored my pipes too. I just forgot to do that. I like the pipes to show what's in them. So water pipes should be blue. Kind of colored the machines and stuff, so that looks better. Then I took out all of the foundations along here because none of that was supposed to be here. And the other thing I did was the power, and I edited the blueprint to do this. I didn't have these things at the time. Oh, I can't. I'm trying to press F to highlight that, and I can't because I'm in the water. So I didn't have these at the time, but I do now. So we've got one there. The pump goes to that and then goes back, and then the extractor goes back. And then if we come back here, you can see they all connect together. It's a little spaghetti-y, sure, but the power runs down through the middle. So all of that connects to this pole, and this pole's temporary. This shouldn't be here. I want to get the priority power switch thing because we would have the power, and it's actually like redundant. I could disconnect one of these, but I want to have the lines that go back to feed the coal miners and the lines to feed all this on the priority switch. So if the big base draws too much power, it will shut off the big base, but it'll keep powering the water and the miners to keep the coal plants full. So we colored the pipes and everything, and we redid the power down there, and we took out the foundation. So that looks a lot better. The last thing that bugs me is this, because I made it look nice at that end, and then you got the janky bit here, and I should have done it the other way around. So I am going to tear this all down so that it looks good on this end and it looks janky down there. That's a little complicated though because of the coal and, you know, that kind of stuff. So I'll do that between episodes. And we've got explosives now. I can go over there and take out the other, the big rock on the coal node. So I've got access to the other two coal nodes, so we can take what we did here and we can duplicate it. These are the Mark III? Yeah. If I had quicker belts, I could overclock those miners and we could actually do more with it, but I don't have those belts yet. So anyways, between episodes, long story short, I'm just rambling on here. Long story short, between episodes, maybe between this episode and next, maybe some other time, I am going to fix that. And we are set up to where when we need power, because believe me, that big factory is going to draw a lot of power, we'll be able to take this and just double it. And the new blueprint will have all that stuff in it. So I added a little crossing here because I kept getting stuck on the conveyor belt. I should have moved these conveyors up into the air, but it doesn't matter. So I think we're at a good wrapping up point here. I'm going to just get rid of these just so I can kind of see the factory a little better. Next episode, what we're going to do is pick something, whether it's the steel or the iron or whatever, and we got to route all the lines over. I don't want it to look like over there. I want it to look nice, kind of like how we did the coal to the coal power plant area. So I want to start bringing stuff over, and we'll start processing things here. We don't have any storage yet because ideally the storage, if that's the next logistics floor, then there would be containers on that floor because I didn't really lay this floor out for containers. I'm unsure. I don't really know what I'm doing. I haven't planned that far ahead. Anyways, next time is going to be about actually starting to run some stuff over and start producing in this building. And then we'll figure out, I guess, as we go about what the building's going to actually look like and how it's going to work. I'm just rambling on for no reason. Goodbye and see you in next episode.